In his past life, Lugh Tautha was a fierce and ruthless master assassin who always finished his missions, until one day he is betrayed by his organization. Lucky for him, he can reincarnate into a magical fantasy world into a noble family, but only if he can manage to assassinate the fantasy world's greatest hero. Will Lugh succeed? Watch to find out. In an illegal human auction run by Marquess Collide, various masked old men haggle and bid over captured girls taken from villages from around the Elven Kingdom. During the auction, the noble mage Dia Vicorn reveals herself after infiltrating the sale. She is also aided by the maid Tart, who is a skilled weapons master. The mage and the maid fight off the guards at the auction, but the Marquess Collide manages to evade them. Their fighting is a signal for Lugh and his sister Maha, who are providing overwatch over the mansion, and Lugh tracks down the guilty Marquess. In Lugh's past life, he was one of the world's greatest assassins. However, he had a strict code where he only assassinated others when authorized and would never take any additional lives. One day, after a successful mission with a rookie assassin, they are spotted by a drone and have to flee. Knowing that the soldiers will not stop chasing them, Lugh enacts a plan to use their getaway vehicle as a decoy and to fake their deaths. Although the two assassins escape, Lugh wonders if their organization gave them faulty information, and while awaiting extraction, he tells the rookie assassin this will be his last mission, and he will retire to teach assassins of the next generation. However, when they are eventually rescued and are returning to base, the organization betrays Lugh by sabotaging and destroying his plane. Upon his death, he meets the goddess, who offers for him to reincarnate as a fresh person or to keep his memories if he can complete her mission, which is to assassinate the hero of a fantasy world. Lugh agrees because he wants to reincarnate and experience happiness, something he regrets he did not have in his previous life because he always suppressed his emotions as an assassin. The goddess explains that he will have 18 years after he is born to complete the mission, and that the hero will defeat the world's demon king after 16 years, but will be addicted to power and destroy the world 2 years later. However, the goddess forbids him from assassinating the hero until the demon king is defeated. To help him on his journey, Lugh gets to choose the innate magic skills he reincarnates with, and he chooses abilities to help him grow without limits and recover faster. Lugh is then born to his parents Cyan and Esri of House Tautha. The former assassin wastes no time in preparing for his mission, from physical training, eating nutritious food to grow strong, and developing his mana reserves. He also learns poisons and medicine from his father, who reveals that their house is a family of secret assassins used by the Elven Kingdom royalty. And one day, his father gives him rare mystic eyes to be able to see very far and to see the mana of others. He also gets assigned a magic teacher named Dia. Dia is a couple years older than him, and she decides to test his mana reserves, but is shocked when he overwhelms the test due to the large number of reserves he has grown over the years, and the test nearly blows him up. Later that night, Dia calls Lugh her younger brother and sleeps in his room to keep an eye on him. The next day, Dia teaches Lugh how to access his magic and to create new spells in his head. Lugh surprises Dia later by transcribing the spells in his head and making minor changes to the current spell list. Through experimentation, Lugh eventually is able to manipulate the create copper spell and make it create gold instead. Lugh also constructs magic spells to emulate his past life, such as creating guns with magic bullets for sniping, and magic artillery pieces to destroy large targets. Soon it is time for Dia to leave, and before she departs the mansion, she gives Lugh a magic stone as a present. Lugh's father then takes him to death row, where he teaches Lugh to be comfortable with death. A young girl named Tart is abandoned by her family and left to die in the woods. However, before she can escape, she is stalked by a pack of wolves. Meanwhile, Lugh is with his family in the market, and he wants to use his mystic eyes to find a potential assistant for his assassinations who has the potential for great magic. He can't find anyone in town, so he decides to go hunting, where he finds Tart being attacked by wolves, and he saves her by fighting them off with his martial arts skills. Tart explains her family left her because her poor family had too many mouths to feed, and she tried to cross the woods into the Tautha lands because she heard the people there were wealthy. After he feeds her, she explains she had a vision from the goddess to cross the woods, as it would lead to a fateful encounter. Lugh recognizes the goddess is trying to help him, and he recruits Tart, secretly revealing that he is a master assassin in need of an assistant. Meanwhile, the goddess has been reincarnating many people to kill the hero, and watches over them frequently, not caring if they die in the attempt. Years pass, and Tart is working as an assistant in the Tautha mansion. Lugh has also been training her in the assassin arts on the agreement that if she betrays the family, he will personally end her. They find that Tart has trouble mastering hidden combat skills, but she is extremely deadly with the spear. Lugh and Tart go shopping in town, and they discuss the close relationship House Tautha has with the people living in their region, and Lugh teaches her the importance of kindness. Lugh is later summoned to see his father Cyan, who gives his son the final test before he graduates as a true assassin of the family. Lugh must beat his father in a duel in the woods, and even as a master assassin he has trouble against his father, who is able to read him well. However, Lugh is able to act unpredictably and defeat his father. At the end of their duel, Cyan tells Lugh that he has mastered the family techniques and he has nothing left to teach, and so Cyan begins to take Lugh on his assassin missions. Cyan then tasks Lugh with an undercover mission for 2 years, and before Lugh leaves for his mission they gather the family together, where Lugh asserts his claim to become the future head of House Tuatha by defeating his cousin Rana, who he later recruits that night. Lugh and Tart begin their undercover mission in the Kingdom of Miltew, and Lugh disguises himself with magic as a Lake Balor, the son of a merchant. Meanwhile, an orphan named Maha and her homeless friends run a sightseeing business to survive in the city. Maha is the leader of the girls, and they plan to make enough money to eventually buy a house for them all. One day a group of thugs ambush and capture Maha and her friends, and they are sent to a terrible orphanage. The orphanage feeds them terrible food and makes them work on dresses. The local noble who runs the orphanage also abuses them and sells them to clients, and one of her friends, Nguyen, scars herself due to the trauma. 2 years later, Lugh arrives at the orphanage looking to adopt an assistant and meets Maha. He agrees to come back 3 days later, and when the director and his thugs try to abuse Maha, Lugh arrives to save her and uses his connections to bust the orphanage and arrest the local lord to free the girls. Lugh is adapting well in his undercover mission to pretend to be a Lake Balor to construct a false identity with the help of the Balor merchant family. As part of his mission, he recruits Maha, and the Balor family adopt her as his younger sister. He reveals his plan to open a shop catering to nobles to collect information and spy on the wealthy families of Miltew. Lugh invents women's cosmetics to open the store, which soon becomes a huge hit amongst the nobles. He also hires Maha's friends to run the store. The cosmetics become so popular, competing merchant families try to assassinate Lugh, and one night Tart and Maha capture one of the assassins. Lugh also continues his magical training, and he visits Dia to construct new spells with her every month. The other merchant families continue to attack the successful Balor company, and Maha intervenes to save her friends from thugs. Tart has also been hunting down bandits and criminals in the city, collecting their buttons as trophies. Meanwhile, while the girls are getting combat experience, Lugh has been infiltrating the noble and wealthy families, and after 2 years has amassed a large number of connections. Before Maha was an orphan, she was the heiress to a large trading company before her family was betrayed and killed. In the present day, Lugh agrees to send her on a mission to destroy the trading company, and since his mission is complete in Miltew, Lugh goes to return home and hands control over the information network and the trading company over to Maha. On the return trip to the Tuatha lands, their carriage is ambushed by monster wolves, and Lugh watches as Tart destroys them. Lugh notices that with more monster attacks in the kingdom, the hero will soon rise. Lugh reunites with his family, who is happy to see him, and his father Cyan tells Lugh that his mission was so successful in Miltew that he wonders if Lugh should give up life as an assassin for the safer and kinder life as a merchant. However, Lugh refuses to give up his family's ways and is determined to lead the family of assassins. His father relents and gives Lugh his first mission to eliminate a Count Asba who is selling military secrets to the kingdom's enemies. The Count is also operating a drug empire throughout the kingdom for massive profit. Lugh also tells his father to arrange a marriage with Dia for him to help construct his false identity, and when his mother hears about it, she teases him and Tart. For the mission, Tart and Lugh send a message to Maha for information. As they travel to the town of Paisar, at the town they meet a girl selling jam which is secretly drugged, and they beat up the thugs watching over her. Lugh gets information from her, and meets with Maha and his Alig identity for more information on the Count. While together, Maha tells him that she and Tart love him and that they won't give up pursuing him. They then arrive at Count Asba's mansion, where they use the cosmetics of the Balor company to meet with the Count and his wife for a potential business deal. The Count throws them a party, and Lugh sees that Asba has a kind and friendly demeanor. However, that night Lugh uses his knowledge of the mansion to ambush and eliminate the Count. He feels a little sadness when he sees the Count's wife, and Tart comforts him. Months later, while Lugh and Tart are training their magic on an uninhabited island, they are approached by Maha, who has found information on a legendary weapon named Gibalg, and that the neighboring kingdom of Swoigel has broken out into civil war. Dia's family is involved in the civil war, so a worried Lugh decides to visit her, and he informs her that the rebel leader fighting their family has a legendary weapon. Dia refuses to flee from her city and insists on taking him out on a date, and they dress up in alternate identities to go shopping and play games together. After they eat at a restaurant together, Lugh and Dia find a lost boy and reunite him with his mother using their magic. And that night Dia takes Lugh to visit a private hot spring where they end up sharing a kiss. Lugh leaves to go home and promises to cook for Dia in the future, but when he meets his father he learns his next mission is to assassinate Dia. Cyan reveals that Dia's family had already lost the civil war, and because Dia is a powerful mage, the price of the surrender was Dia's execution. However, the vassals of her family refused to give her up, and they started a rebellion to prevent Dia's execution. To stop the fighting, Dia's father hired the Tuatha family to assassinate his own daughter. Cyan tells Lugh that he can refuse the job, but that he will undertake the job himself. Lugh thinks about his former life as a simple tool for assassination, and refuses to live the same life. He tells his father he owes Dia for teaching him magic throughout these years, and he will not abandon her, and Cyan approves, telling him that Dia is actually his cousin. Lugh and Tart go to save Dia, and Tart uses her magic to help Lugh travel as far and as fast as possible at the cost of her own mana. After using up her mana to help him, Lugh and Tart promise to see each other again after the mission. Lugh arrives at the mansion and finds thousands of soldiers surrounding the castle. With his mission to save Dia and fake her death, Lugh starts to eliminate the leadership of the rebel army by sniping them and then eliminates the ground troops with magic grenades. This provides enough distraction for him to slip inside the mansion with a dead body. Over the course of decades, the goddess has been reincarnating hundreds of people to stop the hero, but the purpose was to collect data on their failures to find the perfect person to reincarnate to complete her mission, who was Lugh. After successfully sneaking into the mansion, Lugh meets with Dia and her father Dimmer. They plan to fake Dia's death, but Lugh senses dangerous magical energy outside and summons a magical bullet to intercept a powerful spell from the attacking army. Lugh sees that it is the rebel leader Satanta wielding the legendary spear Balk. Dimmer reveals that the power of the rebel leader was so overwhelming that their kingdom's royalty surrendered immediately. Lugh recognizes that Satanta is too powerful to fight in a duel, and he takes Dimmer to speak with the rebel leader with a secret plan to assassinate. Lugh gives the false name of Fairy to Satanta and challenges the rebel to a duel. In their duel, they agree to attack only after a coin has been flipped, and it is revealed that over the course of many years Lugh had created a weapon based off of satellites from his old world that would drop a tungsten spear from orbit that Lugh would use his magic to guide, resulting in a magical nuke. The nuke obliterates Satanta, and although Lugh is heavily injured, Dia arrives and the two share a kiss, with the mage eventually fleeing to join his family as her father enacts the plan to fake her death. Lugh's family adopts Dia and gives her the false identity as Lugh's younger sister. But later that day, Cyan informs Lugh that the hero has finally arisen to combat the demon threat. And this is all for this video. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.